welcome to the Verity Fitness Podcast. This is Christian, your host, and today we are joined by Julian Wentworth, who's a personal trainer in Southport. So we're going to go over to Julian. Julian's basically going to just tell us about himself, his background, what got him into a personal training career that he's got now. And over to you, Julian.
Hi. Basically, I was into fitness pretty young. I was quite an active kid. Was playing sports. Couldn't really find the right sport. I think team sports never really gelled with me that well. So I ended up starting to lift some weights, as you do when you're like 15 and messing around with little weight kits. And it just kind of progressed from there. I ended up enjoying it. I think, in fact, me and my mates used to go, I think like once a week, and then we'd all like have a big session. And then I just carried it on and just went more and more and more. So for me, it was, just a natural process of doing more consistently. And that pretty much went on from about 15 to about 20 when I got to uni-ish. I was proper into the bodybuilding, like really was giving it everything. And then switched, funnily enough, to martial arts. Went to a little club on my last year of uni because everyone was doing sports, and I was like, I don't have a sport, and I want to find something that I want to do. And someone was offering some boxing, so I went down, place in Liverpool called Next Gen, and actually Paddy Pimment was teaching some of my classes, so it's kind of cool, like way before he was famous or anything.
Oh, really?
And then that got me into it, and I just sort of got into it from there. Just kept chipping away, and one thing leads to another, and the next thing you've got someone going, oh, do you want to fight? And it's like, all right, go on. I've been training for the last 2 years, and you're like, yeah, let's have a go. And then once you do one fight, you're like, oh, do another one. So it kind of just rolled on from there, really. Was really going to go into the fighting route coming out of uni. I guess I didn't really know what else to do. I was just following that path and going straight, I want to be maybe pro fighter. I want to do something in the fight conditioning world, strength conditioning, something like along those lines. And then it was hard. It was very hard. It was tough. It's a tough life, and respect to anyone doing it, because, you're training out like a couple of hours every day almost. It's not like weight training. It's skill work, so you just got to be battering it constantly, doing stuff. You got that, plus you're working as well. Like, I wasn't really enjoying the job, so it was kind of a mix of not really enjoying the training was just getting too much. The work just wasn't enjoyable, and I was like, I need to find something else that I wanted to do. So I started personal training because that was kind of what I knew. I'd been brought up with it. I went to uni, did sports science, and there's a couple of PTs on that course, and I was like, oh, I should probably do this. So then I say from there, got the qualification eventually. Came work for you for a little bit. I think with Alan.
Yeah.
And then, so when we started getting a bit busier, like when I first started, got really busy, found it really hard to do any sort of training MMA wise, because just the schedules were just clashing really badly. And I also got a pretty bad shoulder injury that pretty much took me out for, it ended up lasting about 2 years. As many people with shoulder injuries know, it takes a while to heal, and it was really hard to train boxing, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, doing anything with shoulder that just wasn't working. I was constantly in pain, so I just ended up going back to the weights a bit more. That was something I could control a bit better. You're not got people jumping on it, putting it in submissions and stuff like that. And then I guess the PTing just took off a bit more, and then I realised how hard the fight game was and backed off from there, really. Just decided to call it a day. Had my last fight, did well. I was like, that's enough for me. The weight cuts are hard. I'm constantly losing weight. I'm always trying to go to like a lower weight class. So you end up just dieting all year round. You don't really enjoy. You're not partying much. You're not doing anything. So it's quite a hard life to lead. And the fitness side, you can go to the gym and for an hour a day, you can do it 5 days a week, 4 days a week, it's easy, to be all in all honesty, in comparison. So got back to that, and then from there I've just been getting back into like powerlifting and general bodybuilding, and it's something I can do. My shoulder got better, so who knows from now. I don't know where I'm going with it, but I'm just going to keep training how I like to train. And I feel like that's a lot of people go through phases where they'll do something different, and that's totally fine. Like, you're going to go through phases in your life where you drop one thing, you switch to another thing. You might not enjoy something for a bit. You might find a sport that you love to do. It rolls over to my clients as well. It's like, I want them to find something they enjoy. I'm not going to force someone to enjoy bodybuilding if they don't like it. If you like CrossFit, go do your CrossFit. If you like playing sport, you like football, go do football on the weekend. Like, that is the best thing. It's anything that can keep you going. That's pretty much what we're all wanting to do.
Yeah.
Keep you healthy, keep you fit.
Oh no, definitely. I always think with the clients, I always have that same approach. Obviously, I'm like yourself. I do a lot of weight training with clients and stuff. But I always say to people, like, I understand, and that's why I had the consultation with them at first, to tell them what they're going to be doing in the sessions, and I do them in blocks of sessions, so they're not tied into anything, and at the end they're either into it or they're not into it. But I always say to people, you've got to be into it. Now, obviously, there's lots of benefits in weight training for me. So weight training is definitely something I would always put in there as a factor of trying to put into life, because as we age, we do lose muscle tone. Our body doesn't produce as much testosterone as we used to. Now, back in the day, we used to think it was around about 35. It's actually 25, the drop off of testosterone, which is slowly decreases by a percentage as we get older. So I always think weight training is good, but I think if you can mix it in with a sport or something else that complements it a little bit, because sometimes if you're not enjoying something, but the benefits are there, it's trying to get that balance. And I think probably what you'll find as a personal trainer is trying to get that balance where they enjoy the weight training, but also trying to introduce other things into their program as well.
Yeah, it can be hard to get someone that's just not interested in it into it. It's some people just don't gel with it at all, and that is what it is. There's nothing I can do to change that. I'd rather get them doing whatever they like. If they want to go swimming, if they want to do triathlons or run on the beach or do some yoga, go do that. But yeah, like you say, there's tons of benefits to weight training. Obviously, we're trying to promote it. That is the number one thing I would say as well, to recommend to keep in there. I've never really dropped weight training. It's always been in there, just it's been more or less. Obviously a lot less when I was doing a lot more cardio, because I couldn't do much of it. I was too tired.
Yeah, I think with weight training, obviously you've got the health benefits from it, but it's the one thing that's always going to keep you in shape, in my eyes.
Yeah.
If you can build your body with weights that will shape your body a lot better. So you've also got that, not just the benefits of how you feel, being stronger and healthier, bone density and all that kind of thing that comes with weight training, but you actually look better. So obviously I partner my business with my wife, who has a beauty business, and one of our mottos as a joint business is to look good and feel good. Because obviously I feel like with weight training and stuff, if you look good, which you will get from it, and obviously you'll look good from the beauty side of it, you'll feel good. So you'll always get that factor in it. So I think once you've got into weight training, you've built your body up. I remember there was a period in 2015 where we had so much going on that year. It was the first year where I looked at myself and flipping heck, I just lost all muscle tone. I wasn't particularly following any particular way of eating. I just completely lost the plot. And I remember taking a picture and looking at myself thinking, oh my word, I've got like I just turned a dad that year and I had like a dad's bod already. And I thought, no, I can't be doing this. So I got back into just doing 3 weight sessions a week, got back on eating better. And the difference it made me mentally and physically look better, but mentally it made me feel better. And I think you get that from the weights. it's like now for me personally, I start playing basketball now every Friday, and I absolutely love basketball. I look so much forward to it. But if someone gave me the opportunity, well, someone said to me, you can only do basketball or weight training, as much as I get more endorphin hit and more enjoy the basketball section of it, I'd always have to stick with weights. Of course, longevity wise, that's going to be better for me. But for also, I would prefer to look in better shape. Yes, with basketball, basketball will not build muscle. It's more anaerobic. It's probably going to more break down muscle fibers. Yes, you're jumping up and down, but you're not, and you can push around, use a bit of body weight against people. But ideally, it's not going to get you physically looking good. You know, even all the pro basketball players, I don't know if you ever watched Last Dance with Michael Jordan, that you see them, they're doing the weights like in any sport. You know, I always say to people, if it's football, MMA, any kind of sport, you've got to do some kind of strength training because it's so important for the body.
Yeah, definitely. It's come into fruition like the last, let's say, 10, 20 years or so. Like every sport now is using weight training. Like it is the backbone of your strength and conditioning. You got weight training for your strength and you know, running and anaerobic stuff for your conditioning. It's fairly simple.
Yeah, I think you just need to get that. I always say to people is to get that right balance, really. You know, it's like I always come across back in the day, I used to do a lot of running. And I used to always do running clubs and that. And I used to say, look, you know, you've got to do weights. Because what you find when people do a lot of running, they tend to pick up a lot of injuries. For me, they look, especially if they've been running quite long and quite competitive, they can look a lot of gaunt in it. And the posture starts to change and all that. And I always say, like, you know, you need to do weight training. You know, even the top athletes, like the Mo Farahs of the world and that, even the long distance running, yes, they look very slender for the type of running they're doing, but they still got to do the weight training. They've still got that muscular structure. You know, even Mo Farah might be very, very slim, has still got a bicep or tricep. He's still quite defined muscle because obviously they're constantly hitting the floor. It's causing vibration into the body and all that, which can basically break down things like muscle fibers because they're using it because obviously we store a lot of carbohydrates in the muscles, so they deplete them areas. And the ligaments won't be as strong if you're not strengthening through strength training. It's not all about building the big muscle parts. It's also just strengthening all the tendons and everything that comes with it and the ligaments and that, which you get from strength training. So obviously, when it comes to benefiting your clients, is you basically on the same wavelength? It's all about weight training. Is that what you tend to do with your clients?
Yeah, you know, as a trainer, you're going to bias towards what you do and enjoy. And I do enjoy weightlifting. I enjoy lifting heavy, and I enjoy, you know, just smashing some good heavy weights. And yeah, to be honest, that most people, we train mostly with weights. Some conditioning. It depends on the goals. Obviously, if someone's trying to, you know, get a bit fitter, yeah, I'll put some conditioning in there. But for the most part, most people I see just need to eat a bit less and not concentrate on the cardio. Like, as good as cardio is, you don't always need to just smash it. You know, like doing HIIT training every day, all week, it's tough.
Yeah.
I've been there, I've done it. It's incredibly tough. It's just a hard one to sustain. So something like weight training, just general, you know, full body, nice and easy. I'll say easy, relatively easy. Yeah. It's something you can sustain for long periods of time, which that's essentially what I'm trying to do, is get people training for long periods of time, because the more they train, the more the habits kick in, the more the diet kicks in, and everything falls into place. It's, you know, the shortcuts. Yeah, you can go and smash loads of cardio and lose loads of weight really quick and diet really quickly, but can you do that all year round? It's a struggle. And we see it all the time. People crash diets, up, down, up, down, up, down. It's, you know, you've got all, you know, low carb, or just crash loads of weight, and then you pile it all back on again. It's trying to get out of that sort of cycle is what I've been trying to drill into people a bit more. And then aiming with that to stick to the weights, aiming more for performance. So trying to lift heavier, pushing yourself past what you thought you could do. And I think mentally that's really important. Feeling like your body's not fragile. I think that's just an amazing thing to do. So that's essentially my sort of outlook with people and what I try and pass on to them.
No. Exactly how I always say to people. I don't think you have to do too much cardio. I think you need to keep yourself physically active. I think the 10,000 step thing is always quite a good one for people just to get moving. I think most people obviously now sedimentary where they're not as physically active as other times. So I always say to people, you've got to reflect on what you can do. So obviously, if you're not moving as much or doing as much, then you should obviously go into more of a calorie deficit, so lower your calories that you're doing because you're not burning them off. Obviously, when you're doing weights, you are burning calories, maybe not as high as what you do cardiovascular-wise, but what I always say to people, you're burning calories, but you're also building more muscle tissue, which will eventually make you more anabolic. So you're going to be burning more calories at rest. It might not be massive amounts of calories that you'll burn at rest. It's only a small percentage, but it definitely make you more efficient. I've had clients that struggle with weight-wise. We managed to lose a bit of weight. We've put a bit of muscle on. And they managed to go away and on a holiday and have a bit of a binge and they come back. God, it's the first time I've been on a binge and I've not put loads of weight on. And, sometimes I'll see them clients eventually maybe not training with me anymore, doing weights and that, and then going more into the cardiovascular type of thing, the aerobics, which used to be more popular. That's the way for weight loss and that. And you can just see that, like I say, they lose the muscle, the body shape changes, and you can see the weight creeping up. So for me, the most important thing really, rather than doing loads of cardio all the time, like you're saying, is to do more weights and just control your calories that's going in. My approach to most clients is probably the same as yours, is do your weight training, eat within the calories that you should be trying to eat to maintain, or obviously if you're losing weight, or even with surplusing to build more muscle, you weight your calories around that. And for me, is the uptake in protein. I mean, how do you find your clients? Do they take enough protein? I always find male clients not as bad, but women I do find not as. Am I saying that they just don't seem to grasp the protein intake?
Yeah, they don't. Some people barely know what protein, carbs, and fats are. It's something you got to explain to them. Even calorie deficit, a lot of people goes over, completely over their head. So tell them to eat a bit more protein is ideal. Essentially, the big three things for weight loss is protein, calorie deficit, and a bit of consistency.
Yeah,
that's all you really need. And then those three things, you sorted because the protein is essentially upping that thermic effect of food, which is you're eating 3-4 times a day. That can be quite a lot of calories. A bit like the whole walking around 10,000 steps. You're upping your activity levels. Much easier to do that than it is to go and smash a big running session, doing my 10k run, or go for a CrossFit class. That takes a lot of energy. That's hard. It's hard work, and it's hard work to sustain it. So do the easy things first, basically.
Yeah, definitely. Going on to that note, I mean, obviously for me, I'm becoming more of an older personal trainer these days. I'm only saying that because I find like most personal trainers that come through in their 20s. So for me, I'm pushing more to more longevity, because obviously I'm a dad now and I've got 2 kids and I think about them things and that. So in your eyes, what would you think is the key to longevity? For a young man like yourself, what would you think?
From what I know, it's not my field as such, but obviously leading a relatively healthy lifestyle would be a big one. Everything in moderation. There's no secret. There's no magic pill. It's mainly going to come down to your genetics and your lifestyle choices, which a big one actually will be alcohol. Alcohol's just pretty terrible for everything. There's no benefit to it. It increases all markers of, cardio diseases and death rates. It's there with everything cancer. So there's one thing you can easily cut out. It's alcohol. I know it's quite hard to do, but if we can at least limit it for as much as we can, that's a start. Having a higher cardio output and the VO2 max, I seen something today saying that might be a little bit more contributing to longevity. And yeah, I can see that, because a lot of issues are to do with the heart and having blocked arteries and all that sort of stuff. So, and again, cholesterol, keeping that in check, keep your cholesterol down as much as you can. You might be one of the unlucky people that just, it doesn't matter what you eat, your cholesterol will be high and you need to get that checked. Go to doctors, find that out.
Funny enough, I had that scenario because I don't drink. I've not drank for over 6 years. I don't smoke. I eat fairly well. I do have a bit of rubbish, bit of a treat now and again. But 9 out of 10, I'll probably eat really well. Mine goes a little bit down with the family at the weekends and sometimes the food choices. You with kids and that, and it's sometimes I can make some poor choices, but most of the time I'm fine. But I did a blood work with a company called Forth, which is checks all your biomarkers. And one of the things that shocked me the most, I came back with extremely high cholesterol. Shit, what's going on here? When I'm saying high, we're talking about 7.2. So anything usually over 5.2 or around 5 is classed as high as total cholesterol. So I thought, I went to see the doctor, and I think they got it at 6.8, so it was slightly different, but obviously they do a more thorough blood test for that. Anyway, I've always had a high protein diet, and I'm eating steak and eggs. And then my sister come in and she's doing a bit of cleaning at our house, and she's like, "You eating steak and eggs?" I said, "You eating that all the time?" Every time I see her, I said, "Yeah, probably about 4 times a day." 4 times a week for lunch. And she goes, "Oh, I'd love to have that, but I've got high cholesterol." And my sister's like me; it's quite a slim build. And it's like, "Oh, you got high cholesterol?" "Yeah, Dad's had high cholesterol, so it's a hereditary thing." I thought, "Oh, crikey!" So I went for another checkup, and it went up to 7.8. Oh my word! So obviously, I'm always thinking about longevity these days. So I thought, well, I need to sort this out. So cut out eggs, cut out the steaks. Still having a bit of red meat, but not as much. I was quite heavy into my fasting. Now I noticed fasting can increase your cholesterol levels quite high. So I thought, well, I'm going to get out of the fasting. So I have a heel shake in the morning, because what I liked about fasting, all the great health benefits you get from fasting, but in the morning, getting the kids to school, getting to work and that, I haven't got time like I used to sit down and have a bowl of porridge or something like that. So I just found having a heel shake is a lot easier. So at least now in a way, I'm getting kind of a breakfast. I think it's like 490 calories, plus you get 40 grams of protein out of it. It's all plant-based. Well, lucky enough, I went for me cholesterol again, and it went right back down to 5.3. So obviously some food hacks did change. But like you say, genetically wise, my cholesterol could always be quite high if cholesterol's going to be high in our family. So, and I always reiterate to people that getting things like blood work done, is important to help with that longevity. I think what you said, the lifestyle choices is definitely. Alcohol is a big thing. I mean, I didn't give up alcohol on that aspect of longevity. I just went through a period where I just thought, what, I'm just going to knock it on the head. And I just feel so much better not having it. I've done it plenty of times in a period when I was younger, but because probably I didn't have the responsibility of children in my younger days, I never kind of stayed off it completely. Whereas now I've got more of a thing, like my kids have always been terrible for sleeping. So I know if I went out and got smashed one night, I'll never get that time back. So I kind of got out of drinking because of that. But, the reality is, I always say to people, drinking is not good. I understand why people do drink. Sometimes it's a good way for them to wind down or let them loose a little bit at the weekend, or, for some people just enjoy it. Some people just really enjoy a glass of red wine with a meal and that. I think one glass of wine with a meal every night is not, could be more of a benefit than a negative sometimes in certain people. But people tend to have more than one glass of wine. So
even that one glass every day, there was that one resveratrol back in the day, but I think it's not the science isn't there for it. And what we thought was great about it is getting reversed by the bad effects of the alcohol. So unfortunately, I think you're at a loss on that one. But so people smoke, and they, on the packet, you see on the packet, gives you this, gives you that, gives you whatever. We all know someone who's, had something or other, lung cancers, and they still do it. We're going to be the same. We're still going to drink. Like, I'm still going to drink. I know it's bad, but I'm still going to drink. I might get a bit older and drink a lot less. I do try and limit what I drink at the moment. So like big occasions, but yeah, trying not to be, drinking at home alone, or just drinking when I don't need to drink. There's no reason for it. Even to try and wind down, I feel like that's a bit of an escape. You need to figure out your stress, your sleep, find a balance. Maybe you're having too much coffee. Maybe you just need time for yourself. There's something that needs sorting out there. If you need a glass of alcohol to calm you down at the end of the night, maybe you should look at other things, because that's a bit of a coping strategy for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely not a healthy one.
Brilliant. Yeah. So what's the best way for like any listeners to contact you? Obviously, Julian's based in the Southport, so anyone that's listening from Southport, where you're based, how can people find you?
Based near Churchdown at the moment, and got a little garage set up. It's not just a garage; it's got everything there. I've fully kitted it out. And if you want to contact me, use my Instagram's pretty much my only sort of form of social media at the moment. j.wentworth.fitness.
And it's been great chatting to you today.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.